Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Matt Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi friends, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and we have a very special episode for you today. As you know, for the last several episodes that we've done, it's been all about getting ready for deer season, which is coming up in most states in just a few weeks. We just now came into the month of September, and what happened in my home state is right when September gets here, small game season opens. And so we're going to do a special episode today about squirrel hunting, but I do want to connect that to deer hunting, and I'll explain what I mean as we go on. One of my favorite things to do in the outdoors, believe it or not, is to squirrel hunt. Now, I'm a very enthusiastic deer hunter. I absolutely love deer hunting with a bow, with a rifle, with a muzzle loader, just whatever's in season. I like to hunt deer. I like big antlers. I like the meat in the freezer. I just like everything about deer hunting. But also, and some people are surprised to find this out, I really love squirrel hunting. I'm very enthusiastic about squirrel hunting. Now, admittedly, once deer season gets here, squirrel hunting kind of falls to the wayside. But in that month prior to deer season, I do a lot of squirrel hunting. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I do want to make a connection between squirrel hunting and deer hunting because I don't think the two things are totally unrelated. I advise every deer hunter to be a squirrel hunter. Now, let me give you some reasons to squirrel hunt. First of all, squirrel hunting comes in early. It's usually one of the first game species that comes into a legal hunting season in most states. So after a long summer out of the woods, it's going to be one of the first things you can go after. And so I like squirrel hunting just because it's something you can do right around Labor Day, and it'll get you out in the woods and get you moving again. Also, squirrels are a lot of fun to hunt. Some people kind of think of it as a little bit of a lesser sport, but squirrel hunting's a lot of fun, and I'm a really enthusiastic deer hunter. I love to deer hunt with a bow or a gun, a muzzle loader, whatever the season is. I like to do it, but I'll be honest with you. I have about as much fun chasing squirrels around as I do anything else. So squirrel hunting is just a lot of fun. Also, squirrel hunting is a great sport to introduce kids to the sport of hunting. It's a great way. It's kind of low pressure. It's low key. And so if you got a kid that you're wanting to get hunting, squirrels are the perfect game species to take them out after. Also, you can use a variety of different hunting methods to hunt squirrels. You can stand hunt them, which means just find a place where there's some nut trees, sit down and wait them out, and they'll eventually come climbing out of the trees. And so you can stand hunt. You can still hunt, which means just kind of moving through the woods really slow and and just looking for movement. And when you see one, you can go after it. Similar to still hunting would be like spot and stalking. You can spot and stalk squirrels. Also, there's a really, it's not, I don't think it's real big, but it is very enthusiastic. There's a whole subculture of guys that hunt squirrels with dogs. It's very, very popular. I have no experience hunting squirrels with dogs. I've never done that, but I know a lot of people do, and they are very enthusiastic about it, and they really like it. Also, squirrels are great to eat. They get kind of a bad rap, but they're pretty good to eat. And so, they're not bad on the table either. So a lot of good reasons to squirrel hunt. But here's the connection I want to make between squirrel hunting and deer hunting, okay? I've always said that I think if you can hunt squirrels, you can hunt big game. Squirrels may seem like an unchallenging game to go after, but I'm going to tell you that is not the truth. Squirrels are wary. Squirrels are wily. They can be really hard to hunt. And so when you hunt squirrels early in the season before deer season comes in, it's really going to kind of get the rust knocked off of you. We haven't been hunting since turkey season for a lot of us. And so, it just gets you back in the woods, get you back in the swing of things. And squirrels can be a great way to make those first few stalks of the year. Also, the first few shots. I always say I don't want the first thing I shoot at in a year to be the trophy buck I'm after. I like to go out and kind of shoot a few doves out of the sky, shoot some squirrels out of trees, get used to pulling the trigger on live animals, and it just kind of gets you ready for that. All right, now let's talk about some of the particulars about squirrel hunting. The great thing about squirrel hunting is you don't need a whole lot of gear to do it. Usually the weather is pretty good when you're squirrel hunting, and so what I'm wearing right here, minus the tennis shoes, would be just fine to go squirrel hunting. I guess you could go in tennis shoes. I usually wear a pair of boots, but just some lightweight pants, lightweight camo pants, and a lightweight camo shirt, and just a camo baseball hat is usually enough to hide from them. So you don't need a whole lot of gear. I like to take a chair of some kind. I got several different things, but just something as simple as this, just a little camouflage stool or black stool would be more than enough to take with you in the woods. Also, I've got this squirrel call. Come on in here with the camera and show this squirrel call. Now, I have had this call since I was about probably 10 years old. And so I've used this thing for years and years and years. And I actually don't use it much anymore because of I have another one, and I take it because I really at this point I'm so sentimental about this one. I don't want anything to happen to it. But all you do with these is just kind of hold them like that, and you just strike the bulb fast and in some sort of a pattern. It just sounds like the chatter of a squirrel. They just kind of, that right there. I'm not saying you'll call a squirrel in, but what'll happen is a lot of times they will answer each other. They will answer each other. So if they hear that sound, they'll bark back at it. And squirrels can be really hard to see in the early season because all the foliage in the trees, all the leaves on the trees, squirrels can be really, really difficult to see this time of the year. So if you just give it that little call, sometimes they will answer back at you. Another thing you can do besides that call is take 2 quarters with you. I'm going to show you a little trick. You can make a sound that sounds like a squirrel breaking the shell of a nut. And if you've ever squirrel hunted, you've heard this sound before. And sometimes you can do this and make them think there's another squirrel in the area, and it'll get them chattering and barking and all of that. Now, this is a very subtle sound, and I don't know if you'll even be able to hear it on the camera. I'm going to do my best. I'll put it right by the microphone. But what you do is you just take 2 quarters in your hand like that, and all you're doing is this. Just like that. Now, these wind chimes are being noisy right now, but let me do it right by the microphone and see if you can hear this. Just that. And I dropped my quarter. But if you do that, sometimes that'll mimic another squirrel in the area, and it will make one that maybe you didn't see start barking and acting up, and that can be a pretty effective thing to do also. Now, let's talk about firearms for squirrel hunting. You can use a lot of different firearms. I've got right here to my left the ones that I've used through the years, and let's talk about each one of them. Squirrels are primarily hunted with shotguns or small rifles, small rimfire rifles. These are the guns that I've used through the years. Let's just start with the big one. This is a 12 gauge shotgun. Now, the reason I squirrel hunt with this gun, this was my dad's gun. It's a Remington 1100. It's over 40 years old. And this gun belonged to my dad. This was his small game shotgun. He did a lot of bird hunting, a lot of rabbit hunting, a lot of squirrel hunting with it. And so it's not that it's a great squirrel gun. I mean, it's 12 gauge, so it's a good squirrel gun, but I really just use it uh, for sentimental reasons, but also I like to take a few shots with it every year just to keep everything working. But what I'm getting at is a 12 gauge shotgun is a great way to go with squirrels. Get some number 6 shot and go to town. That's a great um, uh, option for squirrels. And I've killed a lot of squirrels with this gun. Usually every fall, I go out and shoot at least a squirrel or two with this gun. That's a really good option. Next, down from the 12 gauge is the 20 gauge. All right, the 20 gauge. And this example of a 20 gauge is a Mossberg 500, and it is a youth model, so it's a little bit short for me, but I've hunted a lot of squirrels with this. Now, with a shotgun, I just use a modified choke. That's going to be your most mid-range choke for your shot pattern. And then I would probably just use like a number 6 shot with a modified choke. And that's what I would squirrel hunt with this. So I've done a lot of squirrel hunting with this 20 gauge and some others that I don't have out here to show. Now, as far as shotguns go, probably my favorite shotgun to use on squirrels is a 410. Now, last December, I did an entire episode featuring this 410. This is not the one that I had as a child, but it is the same make and model of the one that I had when I was just a kid, first gun I really ever hunted with. And so I'm very fond of the 410. This is the New England Arms Company partner 410. It's a single shot with a hammer action, and it's a really good option for squirrels. And I haven't had this particular gun very long, but I took it out last winter, shot a couple squirrels with it, and that's a really great way to go. Early in the season, the shotgun can be the way to go because the squirrels are harder to see up in the trees, and you got to get a little bit closer. Sometimes they're moving around in and out of foliage, and a shotgun is the way to go in the early season. Now, my favorite firearm for squirrels is a 22 long rifle. First of all, I think it makes you a very good marksman if you can learn to hit squirrels in the head with a 22. That is just a good thing to be able to do. I think it makes you a better hunter all the way up and down the spectrum. It's a good idea to get used to looking at game through a scope, learning how to control your breathing, control your poise, and all of that, and then squeeze off the trigger and shoot a very small target um, in the field in real outdoor experiences. So probably one of the best ways to train for all different types of hunting is going out after squirrels with a 22 rifle. Now, this is a Savage Mark II. It's a bolt action. One thing I'm not crazy about with this gun, I don't love the AR banana clip style magazine. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. I kind of wish they would have made a flush magazine. When you're walking through the woods, that can be a little bit awkward. That magazine just kind of gets in the way. But this thing is topped with a Weaver 3-9 scope, and it's the scope that came with the gun. So it's really clear. It holds a 0, and I'll get it out right before squirrel season, take a few shots, make sure nothing's moved since last year. But this is a devastating little squirrel setup. I don't even know how many squirrels I've killed with this gun, but it is a really good squirrel gun. Now, the bolt comes out really easy. You just squeeze the trigger as you pull the bolt out, and that gives you access to the bore so you can clean the rifle. But this is just a really good shooting gun, and I just really like it. It's my favorite thing to shoot squirrels with. Now, I will admit, early in the season when the leaves are up and the foliage is out, they can be a little bit hard to see through a scope. And so sometimes a shotgun's a little bit of a better option early in the season. But hands down, my favorite way to hunt squirrels is with the 22. And I just think it makes you a little bit better of a hunter, makes you a little better of a marksman. So I think that's why I say this is relevant to deer season. Right now, we're in the preseason for the NFL. And I've always felt like squirrel season is like deer preseason. It gets you out in the woods. You're kind of out practicing. You're making some of those early mistakes so that your senses are more honed and your woodsmanship is a little more refined once deer season gets here. So I would encourage you to get out in the squirrel woods. I don't think that you'll be sorry you did. I encourage you to do that, and I think you'll have a great time. I know I'm going to be out there, so I encourage you to get out there also as well. Okay, well, so in 2 weeks, a week from next Sunday, we're going to be doing our live premiere from the fire pit, and we're going to do a fireside chat where you can live chat with us, questions about the upcoming deer season, just anything at all you want to chime in with. We're going to be around a campfire that night, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that you'll tune into that. That'll be Sunday, September 21st at 9 p.m. If you're finding this channel to add any value at all to your life, would you subscribe, like, and follow? Turn on your notifications. It's completely free to you, but it really helps us. It's going to help us grow the channel and do a whole lot more with it. And I'm really enjoying doing this. I hope that you're enjoying it with me. And I'm having a great time doing this show with you. All right. Well, hope you get out there and get some squirrels. Hope your deer season goes great this year. And let me know in the comments how things are going. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm your host today, Matt Hinkle, and that's how I see it from my stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.